Hey, this one specifically goes out to all of the people that are like vehemently anti-flat Earth. I'm very curious. Hey, welcome to the Wikipedia propaganda banner, by the way. Nice to see you here. It's been a while. Anyway, so I'm talking directly to the anti-flat Earth crowd. Have you ever taken the chance to look at it from an unbiased perspective, as though you're being presented both ideas simultaneously? That's a legitimate question. What did you think when you were? One of the responses I hear all of the time from Globers, actually, no, many of the responses I hear from them have been debunked time and again, such as the ships going over the curve. I mean, that we can show is due to a matter of perspective, but for some reason the explanation never takes hold. It just gets hand waved away, and then they jump on to the next subject. So guys, if you really believe in the globe so much, why can't you acknowledge the evidence that goes against it? Because there is. And why can't you acknowledge when your argument's bad? Because it's clearly not ships going over a curve. It's clearly just the limitations of our eyes and our optical equipment, which causes ships to disappear when they are near what we call the horizon. Let's see, another one. Planets. Man, have you ever been there? And why do you believe the people that say they have? None of them are trustworthy. And even if they are trustworthy, you don't know them well enough to trust them anyway. Why do you trust institutions just because they're institutions? You think they can't be wrong, or can't, base an entire field on a faulty premise? It wouldn't be the first time. Can't think of any offhand, but I mean, most of science is basically just updating faulty premises. And so I'm just curious, why are you so vehemently anti-flat Earth? And why don't you react that same way about other things that you don't believe? So, I mean, there's countless things to believe in or not believe in. Yet for some reason, this specific topic just gets people all in a twist. And I don't understand it. It's not really that big of a deal. What does it matter? And the excuse I've heard is, oh, well, science, we got to learn science, otherwise we're going to go back to the Dark Ages. I mean, no, you're welcome to believe whatever you want. And disagreeing about science is science. So the fact that you've got a group of people disagreeing with your science and trying to disprove it is actually restarting science. And that shouldn't make you uncomfortable. That should be promoted. And I personally, I'm not 100% in line with the flat Earth idea either. I don't think that is necessarily correct. I believe it's much more of a realm that is created and observed by us. So when we're not there either is the realm, basically. I don't know. I'm just curious why there's such a pushback. It really, that's how people get when you challenge their religion. And I hear you guys saying, oh, it's not science, or it's not religion, it's science. But if you believe science, and you don't challenge it, how is it any different than a religion? That's what I'd like to know. for me, questioning the shape of the earth has been the catalyst, not necessarily just the shape of the earth, but the condition of the earth and the condition of the earth, the realm we're in. That has made me pretty much untouchable, and it was the most freeing question I've ever not had the answer to. Because no, I don't have the answer to, and it blows me away that when I suggest that maybe the answer is not what somebody else suggests, that automatically that person expects me to answer every question that they have. That's not my job. Just because I know enough to question doesn't mean that I know enough to explain every facet of the world. Nobody can do that. And so there it is. You being anti-flat earthers, I'll clear that up. You guys, you expect of flat earthers that which you aren't even capable of yourself. That's wild to me. I mean, it's pretty clear to me objectively that that flat Earth is at least the more logical point of view. Globe Earth makes zero sense, and that's not just argument from incredulity. That's argument after, like, the deeper I look, the less sense it makes. The more I study and the more I try to rectify all of these different facets together, the more impossible it becomes. And that's not a fault of my intellect. That's a fault of the model. Whoa! Sorry, I dropped you guys. Or not even the model, but there are way too many contradictions. And I'll say the same thing about the Bible. All you Christians who believe the Bible verbatim as though it's a book of literal history, I mean, there's just way too many contradictions in there to believe that's the case. But that's another video for another time. I'm sure I just angered another, 50 of my subscribers and lost 75. I seem to be on a trend of that lately. What can I say, man? Life's been tough. Life has been really tough. I haven't really had a whole lot to say. I got tired of speaking about cops because it's just so low vibration, and that sounds hippy-dippy bullshit, but I'm trying to reach out of that and trying to find something else to talk about, but I don't really know enough about the spirituality that I'm learning about to discuss it in any sort of authoritative way, so I'd just be waffling about stuff. I'm starting to learn more about symbolism. I've always been into symbolism, but, as truthers, man, my left shoulder hurts so bad. If you see me, I'm just trying to get comfortable. Feels like somebody's pulling on my shoulder blade. I'm stressed. I've always been into symbolism, but I fell into the stereotypical truther trap where, we can't look at the Freemasonic symbolism because they're bad guys. Can't look at the Gnostic symbolism because that's the Antichrist. Can't look at this other symbolism because blah 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 blah. Can't look at. No, just because people that you don't agree with use symbolism, use a symbol, it's just a tool, man. Just like the svastika, that whirling cross, if you will. That thing has been used throughout history as the tool that it is. It wasn't until let's just go with the official story. Some bad guys got together in the 30s and 40s and used that symbol that it became one of hate and derision. And why is that? Why can we not look at these things? See, there's a social pressure on you to not look into stuff like a swastika or like the Theosophical Society's emblem, because they're Satanists. You gotta watch out. Watch out. They're Satanists. No, they are people who are seeking truth. I refuse to believe that symbols are inherently evil. And I think that pushing that belief has been quite expertly used against us, in that, look at us, there is a two-tiered system here. There's the controllers, and then there's us, the slaves. One of those tiers uses symbolism, and one does not. One of those uses astrology, and one, buys a telescope and looks into astronomy. And I'll tell you, the one who does astrology is the same one that uses symbolism. And they are not the slave class. So while we're sitting here picking our little bits of food after having, 25-30% of our income just taken off the top, they're using powerful symbols that they've convinced us to fear. And that leads me into the Bible. That is the perfect book, the perfect method of control. Might it contain truth? Absolutely. Does it still contain the same truth that it did when it was written, allegedly a few thousand years ago? Not a chance. Not a chance. It's been perverted, at the very least, to be used as an instrument of control and implemented against the very people that it is supposedly freeing and whose lives it's supposed to save. Think about what the Bible tells you. It tells you that Christ is coming to save you. That, don't worry, Christ is coming. Generation after generation has sat by and let people just take advantage of them and just rape, pillage, and plunder their lives in the hopes that maybe tomorrow Christ will come and save them. Christ is the people. Not I, not you, but the people. We are the Christ. And we must save ourselves. There's a reason that King James did not allow the word tyrant. We wrestle not against we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against powers, principalities, and earthly tyrants, something like that. I'm very bad at quoting the Bible. But yeah, that last part was taken out. So it's up to us to change things. We need to stop waiting on a mystical creature or mystical character coming to save us. The Bible says it. God is within all of us. And then you've been convinced to wait on God. To wait. No. God is waiting on you. God is waiting on you and I to take back our rightful place as the inheritors of this realm. Whatever you consider God to be. See, that's the other thing. I consider the one true God, man, that has been just used to divide, when in reality, what that implies to me is that all people are attempting to describe this one being, which by human words is indescribable. And so, why do we assume that the Muslims are wrong, the Christians are right? What? Isn't it more logical, assuming that we are the creation of God? It's logical to assume also that we cannot perfectly describe that God. Think about it. Can your children perfectly describe you? I doubt it. And then think about this. Each civilization, from their own perspective, wrote down what they noticed about the creator of this realm. And it was filtered through their traditions. It was filtered through their entire ways of life. And they're all trying to describe the one true God. And if you reject anything just on face value because it's not the right God, you're really selling yourself short. The truth can be found in, knowledge. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And you got to learn. You got to learn everything you can about everything you can, and then form your own conclusions. Don't let a book tell you what to believe. Believe what you know to be true within that book, and discard what is not. You are sovereign. You are, and this part, now I'm speaking to everybody. I don't like that I have to differentiate. I hope people can just kind of take what applies and then shed the rest like a skin. Because I'm speaking to literal billions of people. So, and I know that billions aren't watching, but the reason I'm doing this is to speak openly to the whole world. And those of you who do watch, I appreciate you very much. If this doesn't apply to you, then I forget what I was going to even say. Anyway, I'm way too early to pick. I have my drone. All right. I'm going to fly a drone. Later, guys.